Hello, everybody. It's good to be with you. So today I want to talk to you about the foundation of awakening, the true foundation of awakening. Because I've heard lots of people talk about the foundation of awakening, and when they did, they were usually talking about some practice, and I would say most often they were talking about meditation. And meditation is a wonderful thing for the unit. It's a wonderful thing for the mind. It calms the mind. It allows us to see more subtle insights. I heartily encourage you to meditate. I did a lot of it for a long time. Meditation can still arise here, but I don't do it. It just happens. And it typically is not for very long. But it's never pre-planned. It just happens. But meditation is a fine practice for you to take on, but it's not the practice you need to take on if that is your hope of awakening. Is that I'm gonna meditate until I wake up. I would like to be more encouraging than I am, but I have dealt with too many people over the last 7 years who have meditated for 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 years. And have not woken up. So the fact that this guy woke up when he was meditating, well, shit, if you meditate 2 hours a day for 20 years, you might wake up while you're meditating too. But that doesn't mean you woke up because of meditation. Who knows? It could mean you woke up in spite of meditation. I mean, let's not know so much here. Let's not know what we need, because I promise you, the one who thinks that it knows what it needs over there doesn't exist. I mean, it's just an illusion. It doesn't need anything because it doesn't exist. I mean, that's the truth of it. It feels like it exists. I know. It feels like there's a Fred here. I no longer believe that, but it still can feel like there's a Fred here, right? I mean, when I just kissed Betsy in the hall, and when I did, it didn't feel like, well, let me give awakeness over here a nice peck. Not at all. It felt much more like, let me give my wife a peck on the lips just to say I love you. Because I do love her, but I love her from both perspectives. I love her as the little man, and I love her as awakeness. I can't not love her as awakeness. I could not love her as the little man. That would be possible. It's impossible for me not to love her from awakeness, because I am in love with myself. There's nothing else for me to be in love with. There's nothing else, period. Right? Just the one thing, not the one. So there's only one thing that can wake up. Now I want you to count the number of human beings on this planet. And just as a rough estimate, it's 7.5 billion. Now, if there's only one thing that can ever possibly be here, there's only one thing exists. That's the nature of the math of one. It's only one thing that exists. Can it be one of these 750 billion units that's walking around the planet? Just the human units? Can that be what it is that wakes up? I know that the human beings are all part of the oneness as well, but there's not a conscious awakening for any unit. The Fred Davis unit, what you think is Fred Davis that's talking to you. This unit never woke up. It can't wake up because this unit doesn't have the capacity to wake up. This does not have the capacity to wake up. And I can tell it all the secrets of the universe. But I know quite a few secrets, right? And actually I don't know anything, but I have deep suspicions. So I could share quite a bit with this thing. I could talk very skillfully with it, and it would not be able to wake up because a can simply does not have the capacity to wake up. Neither does a cadaver. And that's what this is. It's an animated cadaver. And you believe that the cadaver is going to wake up. But if you go to the graveyard, you'll notice they don't wake up, those cadavers. They really don't. And what you don't notice is that this is a cadaver. It's an animated cadaver. But what the big deal being there is that you are the animation that animates the cadaver. You're not the cadaver itself. You're the animation. So cadavers cannot wake up. They don't have the capacity to. This little green ball, I mean, it cannot wake up, right? It's a green ball. It's just, you know, on some level there may be sentience here, but it's not any level that I can recognize. But I know actually that everything is aliveness, or at least appears to be aliveness within oneness, within the dream of oneness. Oneness is a dream. There's the secret for you. Oneness is a dream. I teach people to come to see oneness, but given the fact that there's only one thing out there, I mean, what is it that learns to, what is it that merges with oneness? It would have to be oneness, wouldn't it? Since there's nothing else. Can oneness merge with oneness? That's a good question to ask yourself. Can oneness merge with oneness? Of course not. It's already oneness. You're already oneness. And you're already beyond that too. You're already that which is prior to oneness, that which is prior to consciousness, that which is prior to this unit, that which is prior to language or thought, that which is prior to experience. We can't experience what's prior to experience. We can't think about what's prior to thought. We can't talk about what's prior to language. That's the reason teachers say they can only point toward it, because even that, I mean, is virtually impossible to do. But it can more or less be done. There has to be, but it's not done by telling you what you are. And that's what we're so focused on. What is my true nature? I want to know my true nature. I mean, I wanted to know the truth so bad. I got an email from a woman in Britain this morning or early this afternoon, and she wanted to know, could I help her? She was just desperate. She'd been a seeker for 10 years. She tried everybody and everything, and nothing was working. And she just felt like she was just going to scream. And I just wrote her back and I said, you know, Chia, I understand, because that's exactly how I felt. Is that all I wanted was release from the compulsion to seek. I didn't care if I got it. By the end of it, I really didn't care whether I got enlightened or not. I just wanted to get rid of that compulsion so that I could do something else in my life other than seek, which is all I had been doing for years, other than basically earning a living and spending a little time with my girlfriend, now my wife. I was a one-trick pony then, I'm sad to tell you, but I'm a one-trick pony now, only I can read something else. I read history, and I can, you know, it is about the Greeks, and it's because I read that history predominantly because of Greek philosophy, but it's still, and I read comic books for a long time, and I may again. I haven't read them in quite some time now, I noticed, but nothing wrong with them. But I couldn't have done that 10 years ago. Well, 15 years ago, I couldn't have done it. Right? It just wouldn't let me read stuff like that. It wouldn't let me read stuff like that in post-awakening for quite some time. So I was right when I said 10 years ago. Because even 10 years ago, it was just at the point where it was going to let me read something else, which was astonishing when it did. I read some mystery that I didn't even enjoy, because it was like, well, these are just stories. This is no... Somebody's just making this shit up. And so, but I got to where I could, but now I'm back to study. I'm a pretend scholar, right? I actually didn't even graduate high school. I did get into college for a little bit, and I did well. I loved it, but I never graduated high school. I got one of those GED things. And so I'm nobody's idea of a scholar. But I like to think of myself as a scholar of all of this stuff. And I read about it, and I know a lot about it. And I want to be, I don't really take all this seriously. I'm just kind of playing out something here. The foundation of awakening is finding out what you are not. Because you can't find out what you are. You can't even know what you are. You can know that you are, and but that's what you already know. You know that you are, but when you say, I know that I am, you think I'm talking about that unit, and I'm not. I'm talking about the animation of that unit, which is the same as the animation of this unit. There's only one. There's only one animating presence. There's not an animating presence in this room or that room or out in the yard or out in the thing. That's not true. There's one presence, and that presence is the presence, and it's an animating presence, and it's looking through these eyes right now. It doesn't need these eyes, but it does need these eyes if it wants to be able to look at the world from this relative location. All within the dream, of course, but that will still be the experience. What is it that you are not? That's what you have to look for. When I woke up, it was to the question, when everything else drops away, what's left? And instead of going, boy, that's a good pointer, I love that, I'm going to take that pointer, put it in my pointer collection right under the glass. Yeah, I'm going to arrange it with the others, a beautiful little collection of pointers. Instead of doing that, I actually worked with that. I actually lived that. And I just let everything start dropping away. And what was left? And what was left was truth, because everything else is false. You don't know it until you do, but that's the truth. It's only one true thing, that's you. All this stuff is entertainment. It really is. It comes and goes. You don't. What is it that you are not? Neti Neti, Neti Neti, Neti Neti. Not this, not this, not that, not that. So what if you really weren't that body? You've heard me say that. You've heard others say it. You've read it countless times. You even believe that you're not that body. The problem is the one who believes they're not that body is the character. And characters do not exist. It feels like they do. And I can even be charmed by a calendar. Betsy charms me. That's a character. But it's not. It's really me coming through a different set of conditioning, and which I'm very pleased to announce is more interesting than this one. But there's just me. So the one thing that wakes up is me, and you could say the one thing that wakes up, I could say one thing that wakes up is you. And you could say, I am the only thing that wakes up. But when you say that, don't refer to this body. Refer to true nature. What is true nature? How do you know that this body exists? How do you know this body exists? Do you know that this body exists? Right? How is it that you come to think that this body exists? Is a much sharper question. But I don't want to go so deep that we lose everybody. So how is it that you can watch this video? How is it that this video can be cut? There has to be what's at work here? Consciousness is at work cutting this video. Consciousness is at work listening to this video. And they're not different consciousnesses. There's only one, and you're it. That's the coming to see. So the Neti Neti is coming to see what if I'm really not the body? What if I'm really not the mind? What if I'm really not these sensations or feelings? What if I am really just not? So you can't get a handle on that, can you? Now you know you're approaching truth because you can't get a handle on it. Anytime you think, now I got it, they can bet your life that right then you do not. Now there can be a coming to see the truth, but if so, there's not going to be anyone claiming to see it. If the truth is actually known in this moment, There will not be anyone to claim, I see the truth. Because in order for me to see the truth, I'd have to have not seen it and now be seeing it over there. And the math of one tells me that there's no over there. There's just this. So there's just the one who is, there is one, and we can test that later, but for now, let's just say there is one. And that one is using this thing and your thing. I say your because see what's been happening here is that everything has been claiming to be that thing. He used to claim to be this thing, and hell, I believed it then. And it can be believed as it comes through that conditioning over there. But see, there's only the one thing. So I'm not working with a student right now. I don't have any students. I don't have any mentees. I don't have any clients really. I work with myself. I pay myself to do it, but I do work with myself. And they can't, not anybody, anything else I could work with. They're just me. And you can say exactly the same thing because we are exactly the same thing. So if we are exactly the same thing, and this one says, he's not going to say this, but if this one did say, I am awake, then that would mean I am awake and you are not, which would mean that we are two different. Right, if you had that sense, you might announce that I am not awake. I would say that most of my sessions, unless they're continuing student sessions with people I know or regulars, when people come to me for awakening sessions, they come under a false assumption. They come, which I encourage, which is that they come believing that this is awake and that what's coming to see this is not. But there's only awakeness. There's only one thing. So there's awakeness here and there's awakeness there. And awakeness over there thinks it isn't awake. And awakeness over here, through this conditioning, knows it is awake. It knows it is awakeness. Matter of fact, it's got complete conviction that it is awakeness. There's no doubts whatsoever. There really is not. They can only, that's the nature of one thing. It's that since there's just one thing, I have to be it. So what we can notice, camera went funny there. What we can notice is that there's no distance here. See, that's what you think, is you think you're at your place watching me while I was at my place. But it's all my place. It's all your place. So you are at your place, but this place is also your place. And since this is your place, one of your questions is, Fred, why can't I see what's in the Fred unit's studio? And what I want to tell you is you can see what's in the Fred unit's studio. You absolutely can. You're doing so through this unit. Why would that unit need to be able to see in this room? I'm using it to look in that room. And I'm using them all, these units all over the world, on Everest, and in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and in the Amazon, and in Los Angeles, and everywhere, Canadian North Woods. I'm just using all these units because I'm having all these experiences simultaneously. And when I say that, clearly I cannot be talking about a Fred. See, this is not going to say it's awake because there's nothing here to say that. How about that? There really isn't. There's no Fred. If I claim to have it, get out of the room and don't come back, right? I will just... I mean, if I make myself out to be something really special, then you get out of the room. Don't come back until at least I have come to my senses. And if I don't come to my senses, don't come back, because I will be a danger to the awakeness as it finds itself over there, or doesn't, due to the fact that I'm claiming to be awake and saying you aren't. But there's only one thing. There's only awakeness. Awakeness, awakeness, awakeness. Just take awake and not awake and throw those words out the window. They're no good. They're no good to anybody. The foundation of awakening is Neti Neti. It is finding out what you are not. And if you've been in non-duality longer than about a month, you've certainly heard of Neti Neti, which is the old Indian practice of noticing that I'm not this, I'm not that, because that's all you can notice. All you can actually find is what you're not. All you can actually see is what you're not. There's only one thing going on, but what I'm going to tell you is that this, although we can see it or whatever, it is not actually you. It's an image of you. It's a reflection of you, but it's not actually true. And we don't need to go into all that here. So, all you non-dual police, just take a deep breath. I know what I'm doing over here, and I know what I'm talking about. And I say things here in ways that I'm hoping can be helpful, because what I notice is that if I say anything any finer, any higher than a given level, that it just makes me beam that I have gotten it all just right. The non-dual police are not going to be after me. I don't give a shit if the non-dual police are after me or not. They're welcome to come after me. They've been after me for 7 years. I don't know why they just stopped now. But what this teaching is interested in is being helpful. And what's being helpful today is letting you know what you're not, which is you're not that body, you're not those thoughts, you're not that sensation. How about let's just take my example, because that's how I woke up. So in the absence of a Fred, because see, that's one of the things that goes. And the body goes, and I'm not this, I'm Neti Neti, I'm not this, and I'm not that, and I'm not just that. See, that's the thing, is from a oneness perspective, I certainly am that. But what we're talking about here is prior to the oneness training. And so I cannot, in the truth of what you are, is that you are that which sees everything, but which nothing can see. You can see everything, nothing can see you. You hear everything, nothing can hear you. You taste and touch and smell everything, and nothing touches, tastes, or smells you. And through that unit, you think everything, don't you? Not really. The thoughts just arise, don't they? Hell, if you were in control of those thoughts, you would have quit seeking a long time ago, because you just said, hell, this is boring. I'm not going to do this anymore. This is frustrating. I'm not going to do this anymore. But you notice that you can't not. If your head's too far in the tiger's mouth, you can't turn around. So you may as well go forward. But the problem is that you're going to go forward kicking and screaming. Everybody does, including me. The truth can be seen at any time by anyone. You don't even need a guru. You got a guru, which is yourself. The Satguru, the inner guru. But there's no such thing as outside. So there's no such thing as inside. There's just you. So all of that is just talk, and it can be helpful talk. It can be very unhelpful thought. We really think there's some little guy in here, right? Or some little woman, wise woman in here, and she's telling me what to do, and she's pointing me in the right direction, and she's doing that. The problem is there's no me there. So it can't be pointed in the right direction. It can't be pointed in the wrong direction. There's no me. Neti Neti. What are you in the absence of the character? If you're not that body, what are you? And that character, I mean, do you know that you were born? Are you really sure? I tear that apart every day for people. I swear I do. Do you know that your name is Bob or Carol? I can rip that to shreds in no time. And I do it with the smartest people on the planet. So everything that you know, question. And open yourself up to what you don't know. And you don't know what you are. Just tell yourself the truth. When you say, I want to wake up, you don't know who you're referring to. You don't know who's saying that, and you don't know what you're referring to. You really don't. There's a sense of I here. There's a sense of me here. There's a sense of separation and individuality. But given the fact that it's oneness and only oneness, then tell me what it is that is having the experience of oneness and individuality. Huh? Hell, that has to be oneness, doesn't it? It's not a character. It feels like a character. That body is a camera. It's always thought it was a photographer with a lot of free will and wandering around. I'm not saying that your character doesn't have free will. I'm saying that there is no character. So in other words, what I'm saying is that the thing that thinks it wants to wake up is not even alive. So how the hell is it going to wake up? We can't wake up what's not here. There is something here, but it's not a character. It's not a Fred. It's not a Bob. It's not a Judy. It just is not. It's not a man. It's not a woman. It's not a pig. It's not a son. It's not it's not anything like that. But we can't say it's nothing exactly, because there's something here. I promise you that. But that something is not a noun. It's not a person, a place, or a thing. So if I'm going to understand here, no thing wakes up. So if no thing wakes up, and I swear to you this is the truth, why would you spend the rest of your life waiting for that unit to wake up when you know full well that it's a thing, and Fred, with no reason to lie to you, has promised you, told you that you're not that body? So what is it? Oh, I'm my thoughts. Really, are they your thoughts? Again, if you could control your thoughts, would you be here with me? If I could control my thoughts, I don't know what I'd be doing, but I doubt seriously this would be it. See, because the funny thing is when I say, if I could control my thoughts, but there's no one saying that. See, there really is not. It's just they're saying it. They're saying, there's the verb-like expression of awakeness. There's a saying, but there's no one saying it and no one hearing it. There's teaching here, teaching, but there's no teacher and there's no student. There's teaching, but there's no one who's getting it and there's no one who's teaching it. Just the way it works. Neti Neti, what are you not? Find that out. Find out what you are not. Just stop taking it for granted that this thing is ever going to wake up, because I swear to God it's not. Why would I? What possible motive could I have to sit here and tell you something that I don't absolutely positively know to be true? None. None. I'm telling you what I'm telling you because it's true. And it seems that this thing cuts videos. I can't not do this. That's the reason I'm sharing this with you. No other reason is that I can't not. So, I can't not cut this video. You can't not watch it. But we can both notice that even though that has been the case up to now, it will not be the case in the next moment.